Hello and welcome back to Good Knit Kisses. Welcome, welcome, and thank you for waiting on me this morning. I had a little bit of a technical difficulty setting up my camera this morning. It was not cooperating. So hopefully I am not like way too in your face this morning and the sun's too bright, but I'm plowing ahead. So anyway, I hope you're doing well this morning. Welcome to the replay. If you watch this on the replay, be sure and write replay and then your question, and I can get to it next week. Good morning, Ellie. Good morning. Good morning, Patricia, or good evening to you for where you are. And I'm excited. I just saw Ellie's homework from last week, and then I saw who else was it? It was Nancy. Nancy B. She posted it on the page, and if I missed yours, be sure and try and tag me in that or comment on the post or something. I'd love to share it with everyone. So be sure and share it on the main page. You can actually post to the Good Knit Kisses page, post your projects. And so Ellie, yeah, be sure and post your homework, even if it's like in process. So that's totally cool. Good morning, Lisa Mona. I'm excited. Man, that was really fun to see the homework. Pam, good morning. Good morning in Texas. Good morning, Betty. I'm glad you're all here. So we'll get started here in a second. I just love saying good morning to you all. And I sorry, I lost my train of thought. I'm a little late this morning. I allowed myself to sleep in, having a little bit of a back issue today, and I had a very long evening on my feet last night. So good morning, Cape Cod. Good morning, Jane. And welcome to Carol. She just hopped on. This is Carol commenting for Good Knit Kisses. So we are just saying our hellos. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Ellie Squirrel. Okay, so just want to get those hellos, not to say out of the way, but just like I like to welcome you guys when you get in here. Hey, Joanne, she's here today from Maine. Welcome. I'm craving me a Maine lobster about now. That sounds good. Okay, so I'm gonna get started. I can cover a lot or a little today. So if you guys interrupt me with questions, that's okay. I love it. I love it. So be sure, and if you come back, you think of something later you want to ask me, remember, write replay and write the question for next week. And then that way it kind of alerts me to look at that question. What I do is I read through all the comments again and I make sure that I answer the question. If I can give a link, I just give a link. If I can like answer it on a broadcast, I will do that. So I'm going to kind of go into some of it. I've been asked, one quickie thing up front. Several people ask a lot. It happens all the time for double knitting. Actually, they don't know, and there's two different ones. It's called figure eight. And those who have knit for a while, they understand that there's a couple of different figure eight stitches. They're not a real stitch name, but that's just the nickname because of how you perform them on how you put them on your loom. So let's say you have a loom and you wrap the yarn around. If you're wrapping from the front to the back to the front to the back, that's really kind of the classic figure eight stitch. What that does is it's a twisted stockinette. So it looks like it looks like all knit stitches on the front, but it's very twisted and bumpy. And that is that's a knit stitch on the front and on the back, and it's twisted. So it gets you that through the back loop, which is what needle knitting would call it, but it's twisted and it's really stretchy. So, but it's called figure eight because you make this figure eight with your yarn. Okay. That's the double knit. The second version of that is the diamond lace stitch, but many people call it a couple of different names. One is the figure eight stitch, and it, depending upon who you are, you've renamed it something else too. Nancy, good morning, Nancy. And Nancy did her homework too. Thank you for posting on the page. I'm not sure. You may have been the only one who posted on your homework on the page. Way to go. So, and you're from Ghost Towns and History of Montana. That's cool. I need to look that up. Okay, so anyway, so we've got the figure eight that's back and forth double knit, and then we have a figure eight that goes here, and that's because you make a figure eight and then you go and you knit off and you go and you knit off. So if you want to know how to do those, you can check my channel. I don't have a bind off for the flat panel figure eight. I'm gonna just call it the flat panel figure eight today. You can bind that off. Excuse me. Oh my gosh, I have like an eyelash. Sorry, is bugging me. Um, you can bind off in a simple bind off, basic bind off, stretchy bind off. You can bind off in different ones. I would suggest trying the ones that you like. Honestly, I had figured out how to do a figure eight bind off and should have made a video because I don't use that stitch very often, but people have asked me. So if you're interested, please say flat figure eight bind off and write it in the comments for me, and I'll figure out how to do that again. I mean, honestly, it's like not a need for me to do all the time, and so I forget. So anyway, but if you want to know how to make that diamond lace pattern figure eight flat knit, I have a video on it. Also, I have a video on how to increase and decrease it nice and even. And I talk about it at length on there. I actually filmed it in the break room at my old work. So it's kind of in an odd place. It's real dark. Yeah, figure out blind off. Okay, cool. So anyway, and I show how to increase and decrease that because I figured out the best way to do it, or at least the way I think that it looks the nicest. So if you check out those videos, they're on my channel. And then, so kind of moving on from there. Oh, I'm sorry. And then the bind off for the double knit back and forth, that bind off, actually, personally, I find the easiest way when you're doing those bind offs, if you will actually, instead of using your crochet hook to go back and forth or go down the line, if you lift the back, okay, so the back board over the front board, and so then you get all your stitches on the front, okay, then you can do that in a flat panel bind off. Okay, so you have double the stitches here, and then I've got a video on that. So if you look up figure eight bind off, you know, like no dashes or anything, but just figure and then the letter 8 and then spell out bind, B-I-N-D, and then space O-F-F on my channel. So if you're at youtube.com/goodknitkisses and you go to that little search bar that's in Good Knit Kisses, not the YouTube one, if you type that in, that video will pop up. I can't remember the name of it right now. If Carol finds it, she can let you know, or I can let you know later. But that one I think is the simplest to do. Also, I have a video that looks made similar. I did that on a break at my old work too. You can see the floor of the office I was in that video. That little behind the scenes secret there. That's why it shot a little different. But I actually talk about to slip knot or not slip knot. Because when you're making the figure eight stitch, you can decide to skip the first stitch and it becomes like it's slipped. And so if you knit them different ways, if you work it that way, it shows the edge a little different. And so I actually worked up 2 samples to show what they look like, and you can check it out for yourself. Part of also that series of videos that are shot that way. Also, I did the where you can do a keyhole scarf, and those are great for gifts and stuff. They're great for making shorter scarves for kids, and then you can stuff them in their jackets easily. So a keyhole scarf, and it's using a double knit loom, I think it's a Nifty Knitter. This is a boy, smaller gauge one. Oh, has this come out yet? Whoops. Okay, all the other ones have come out. I just realized I probably grabbed the wrong one. Shh. It's out there now. So, y'all give me some laughter or love or something. I feel terrible. Um, anyway, so in that series, you can thank you. You can find the the thing, and it's on Nifty Knitter, and it's using like either 6 or 8 pegs. I forget which one. And oh, I got a package. Okay, yeah, this is the one that this one comes apart. Okay, so what you do is you're supposed to pull this peg off here. I really don't want to do it because this one was a prototype. You know what? Let me open the one. Hold on. Da 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 da. La. Y'all see that? Okay, this is the one from Walmart that I was contracted to do. So, like, if you buy it right now, I would love it. That would be awesome. I don't make a commission on it, so just to clear up anything. But this is the book that I wrote, and it comes with the loom. So, like, this has like 10 of my patterns in there. And I had to keep them fairly simple, you know, because it's supposed to be a beginner book. So, if you are a beginner, it's perfect for you. And it comes with the loom. It's really a deal because it's like $10 and there's 10 patterns and you're getting the patterns at like less than $1 each with a loom and stitch mark. And I triumphed. I was like, put some stitch markers in there. I actually wanted a tape measure and a gauge thing too. I mean, I was fighting for everything, but I got stitch markers in there. So woohoo. Anyway, I digress, squirrel. So yes, you pull this off, and then it opens up. Okay. And then you can use it as a flat panel like that. You can go back and forth. But here's the deal. So, I mean, if you want to do that, totally do it. It's fine. But is it a little wonky? Yes. But here's a cool feature. So there is a pattern, and I'm sure there's more out there that people can think of. I mean, once you know about something like this, then your little mind can just, you know, just go racing on what you can do. Your big mind. I don't want to say your little mind, but anyway, your mind is a fantastic, amazing thing. And there's a chain link scarf, like literally you're creating these loops and then you're linking the chains. And so the way the pattern works up, you'll have to Google like loom knit chain scarf, I think. It's not my pattern. I haven't made it, but I've seen other people do it. And the way they do it, like if you do it on your, I think it takes 12 pegs or something, but if you do it on your bloom loom or something, what happens is that the little 12 peg loom, it can get caught in it because what you're doing, you make it and then you like seam it together and then it's stuck inside your loom. Once you, you have to be able to open up your loom to get it out, right? And then start on the next one. But what you do is you're linking your chains as you go. It's really a cool pattern. You're working on one, Ellie? That's cool. Okay, so anyway, you put it right back together. Am I shouting at y'all? I can't tell. I've got my speaker volume wonky today. Okay, so let me put this back up. Okay, that's that. And of course that's that kit. I keep one around here just so I can say this is what it looks like. But this is the book, and it's got a scarf in here. I'm actually going to show you how to set up for this scarf because it's very similar to another one that I've done. Not as a scarf, but I'll show you here in a second. It's this one right here. Okay, and then I actually make this one a little bit wider than that. Okay, so this is in my book, but I'm going to show you how to do it today. And then there's, let me look on the back here. So we've got a muff, which has like a pocket inside for like a miniature tablet or like an iPhone or iPod or whatever phone you use. And then a little hat, baby hat, little boot cuffs. They're supposed to be folded in regular boots, but they put it in there weird. And then like fingerless mitts, double knit scarf, a trivet made out of t-shirt yarn. Someone asked me about t-shirt yarn last week. It was perfect for this trivet here. And then there's a towel and then little crowns. These are crowns, made loom knit crowns. So if you want to know how to do some loom knit crowns, I had started working on the patterns, and then like the year I started working on them in the summer, they started becoming really popular. And I was like, oh no, mine aren't going to come out until next year, but I can't tell anybody about them. So if you want to see my crowns, they're in this book. Anyway, so, and then I give you options for making them bigger. They're made on the side. They're made on a flat panel, and then you join them together. Okay. So raise your hands, hit the love button. If you started, not finished, just started your loom knitting homework from last week. What we did is we made these. This is that made a weird color. Hello, that's weird. This is the Hexagon blanket. 1, 2, we got a couple of people. 3, 4. La, 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 5. Awesome. I'm so proud of you. Thank you for starting your homework. Did anybody finish? I know Nancy did. Go, Nancy. Sad face. You have a 24 peg. Betty, you can do it. You can do it with a 24 peg. Yours is going to be bigger. It's going to be bigger. So, yeah, you got this one. Oops. You have this one? Yeah. This would actually this would be a really good lovey for a baby. So if you wanted to make, yeah, and you can do 12 pegs. You don't have to use all of them. You can put a stitch marker in, like this is a little bitty one. I think this is from Knitting Board. It's just a very tiny one. You can use like hair bands to do that too, and then mark it to the 12, and then just go back and forth because it's made like a flat panel. So what it does is you're gonna you cast on. Oh, good, Ellie. Oh, awesome. You're going to cast on and then you start working your stitches. You work one of these. I can't show it on the camera very well, but you work one wedge. Okay. And then you continue and make another wedge and you continue until you have 6 wedges and then you put them together. So, oops, I got a little tail sticking out. I need to tuck that in. But anyway, and then you seam them together. Okay. And then I show you a way to seam it together on the video. But whether you use 12 stitches or the 36 that are intended on the regular 36 Nifty Knitter or one like a 3/4 gauge, that one will make a bigger blanket. So actually the more pegs you use, the bigger your blanket will be. So the size of, so the long side of one of the wedges is going to be half of your diameter, right? If you're using 6, well, or 8. So the diameter of the blanket. Okay. Good, Nancy. Yeah, I'm so glad you like the seaming. I worked on that with Charity personally. We were up till 3 a.m. working on stuff a couple of nights in a row. And I was like, okay, I did this one, but I'm not happy and I want to make it easier for everybody. And now if you watch the video, you might go, well, I don't have any straight needles to do that with. That's fine. I mean, you can even like use a pencil to stick it in, you know, some of those. You'll see what I mean, the way that we did the bind off. I believe we did the Russian bind off. But anyway, it gets easier. And it really does do a good job. I really enjoyed it. These are a couple of my test ones. So I have 2. I was trying to find this morning. It took me a little longer too. I was like pulling through all my samples. I could not find my cotton one that I asked y'all to do. What determines whether you need 6 or 8 wedges? Good question, Joanne. Is the loom gauge or the number of pegs or both? Yes. Now, okay. I can't fully answer, but I can answer a little. From what I remember, Charity had worked out on one of her patterns that's no longer available, and I'm sorry, because she fell off the face of the earth. Nobody knows what happened. I'm going to tell you right here candidly, we don't know. And she had taken everything down and or several things down, and I don't know what happened. Honestly, I mean, and I knew her personally, and she was here and she moved. And anyway, I don't know, but I do know that she had made a file, and someone somewhere has these files that actually tell you how many wedges you need for what different looms and using different stitch counts. So I don't believe I have that file. I have a big problem in asking someone to share copyrighted information. It would be really nice to know that information. Maybe I could recreate something. I really, gosh, it's been like this turmoil in me because she never filed copyright from what I know, and it was a free pattern, but anyway, I really don't want to share that stuff. Anyway, it gets really frustrating, Joanne, but I believe that when people went to the small gauge and they did, like, say they doubled it and they said, okay, I'm going to do 72 pegs, but I'm going to do it on the small gauge so that I get the same size, then they had to 8 and they made an octagon. But sometimes other people use like a 1/2 inch gauge, and I want to say they had 7 or 8. And unfortunately, it's not a perfect world, and my math skills are lacking when it comes to that stuff. Like some people crunch numbers like in their head really fast and go, "Oh, that one will make blah blah blah," and da da da. Renita's like that. If y'all know Renita Harvey, she's really good about that kind of thing, and she may in fact know the answer. I don't know, but eight. Okay, so basically, when you're knitting it up. Oh, I'm sorry, Candy Annie. It probably is on. I found when I had that trouble, it's like a Wi-Fi signal on that end because I've had that when I'm watching and I'm having a buffering. I'm sorry. You understand the ethical problem? Yeah, if it can be figured out mathematically, it should be able to be recreated. Right. So I'm thinking that if we had anyone who wants to contribute, perhaps I could create a blog that's about it. We can make a collaborative blog. I mean, I don't mind reaching out to you guys and saying, if anyone has information that they'd like to share, and I don't mean like send me a document. I just mean like if you have physical evidence or something or written out to be like, I know that XYZ has this, you know what I mean? Then perhaps because they were all shared with her, but I don't want to reshare in her format or anything like that. So we could maybe create a blog. I would love it in a blog instead of in a document, because in a blog, then everybody can get the information because it really should be out there. But honestly, I don't have time to sit and knit a whole bunch of samples. So that's where the power of community works really well, right? So if y'all want to start that initiative, I would be happy. If you want to start it in our club group again, I would be happy because it all started in my group, and technically I have rights to be able to republish in my group because I've stated that so before, like people who put stuff in documents, and she had it in there, but for whatever reason that stuff is missing. Yeah, we can ask in the group, Carol. That's fine. So if you don't know what group I'm referring to, we have a little group of about 15,000 people, and it's Good Knit Kisses Loom Knit and Craft Club on Facebook. And so if you are in there, it's a closed group, but we do let you in. However, we do really screen people. We try to screen people pretty well because we don't like getting junk spam and people who aren't there we don't want people in there who are just trying to sell us, t-shirts or knitting items that's all they're there for. So unfortunately, there are some people in there that are like that, but until they start posting crazy, then we have to leave them in there. So, anyway, so yeah. Okay, so let me move on past all that stuff. That's yuck stuff. I don't like talking about that stuff. Okay, so yesterday, I want to bring back up the scale. I'm sorry, we had to jump in the video. I am going to get to this pattern in a moment, but I want to show you all the scale and what I was talking about yesterday. So I was saying if you get a postal scale, it can help you in determining how much yarn that you need. Or how much yarn that you've used. It's handy if you sell your items, if you're making items over and over and over again, like you need to know how much do I need to buy for this or whatever. It helps you when you're writing your patterns. Okay, and sorry, it's skipping again. Carol says, let me do a search in the group, then I will ask members to share info. Thank you, Carol. That would be great. So we'll have to look through. We've got a few years of information, and sometimes Facebook doesn't let us archive and search too far back, but hopefully we can find it. Okay, so this scale right here, it's from Dymo. I don't know if this brand's still available or not. I bought it at like Staples or Office Depot. And anyway, so like I was saying yesterday, if I turn on the button beforehand, before I put anything on it, then anything after the fact will get weighed. But if I put, say, like a bowl on it, like this, that's empty, and then turn it on, then anything I put inside the bowl will get weighed. Now, so say you do a swatch, right? And you're like, how much yarn did I use? I know that my item is going to be 4 times bigger than this, So it's going to be 4 of these, 4 times bigger than this. Well, what I can do is find out how much yarn I used here, and then I can multiply that out times 4, right? Okay. So the way I can do that is I can actually put my I can put my yarn in a bowl, and I can put all my samples that were made in the bowl. And make sure you don't, like, I have needles on here, so I wouldn't weigh it with a needle on here. This is just a stitch marker for now. It's holding all my stitches. But let's say these are just plain old samples. Then what I do is, so I weigh it like this, and then I can take this out and I can show what the difference is that I took out, and then I can multiply that out. So that's kind of what I was talking about yesterday. If you want me to show you how to do that, say show scale, and I'll know to show it to you here in a second. So I just wanted to show you the bowl that I use, because it fits, like the base fits really nicely, and then it's bigger, and then it fits a nice size piece of yarn. But if it's over, I think it's 3 pounds. I think if the item is over 3 pounds, then it doesn't weigh it. So that's why it's good to do a swatch. Okay, what else was I going to cover? Okay, let's get back to the double knit. The double knit, I moved my, oh, it's in my lap. I put a loom in my lap and I forgot about it. You love using the scale? Yeah, and Joanne, you make patterns too, right? You write patterns? And do you use them for your patterns? It really helps. I'm going to assume you do, but I want to say that you write some patterns. So anyway, okay. So I've got a couple of different looms here. Of course, we have the boy, and then I've got some nifty knitters, and then this is a knitting board. And so when you're double knitting, you're going back and forth. Okay, from the front, from the lower to the upper, to the front, to the back, or whatever. Yes, the scale is the best and most accurate way. Do you use grams more? I find that I like to calculate with the grams, because I tend to find it more accurate than looking at ounces and stuff. It's, I don't know, there's something about it. It's just easier. So when you're knitting back and forth, of course, you get like double the thickness. But if you will do, to measure how much yarn you're using, Joanne. When you're going, sorry, there might be a big delay on my end when I read it. Oh, you use grams also. Awesome. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be double the thickness when you go back and forth, but I love using the technique that I use here. And some of you guys may have used, sorry, I have a hole for a button here. That's why it's got this big hole in it. Let's look at the other end. I like using this technique because it keeps it nice and thin and lightweight, and then allows for no purling and making a nice stretchy rib. And the way that you do that is, it's technically a flat panel, but it's like a cheat. And I don't know that anybody calls it a cheat, but that's what it is. You may have done some people call it the box stitch, or the double knit, or what do they call it? The double rib. And so what happens? Let me get some yarn. What happens is you make this pattern that does this. Sorry, I'm wrapping my yarn on here to show you. It's in bright pink. Okay, so here is something wrapped. Okay. Okay, so what's happening is I've got 2 pegs, 1, 2 being wrapped, and then I skip to the back and I wrap 2 more pegs, and then I skip and I wrap 2 more, and then I go back here and I wrap 2 more. Okay, so if I go all the way down, okay, and then all the way back, and then lift the bottom over the top, and when I go back, I need to follow these lines that are in the middle, right? And then I lift the bottom over the top. That's cast on. That's easy. And then when you go back the pass through, you go back on top of the same lines, and you continue and continue and continue. And you get this knit stitch that's like a ribbing, and it's like 2 rows of knits on one side And then on the opposite side, it knits as well. But you see it from this side here, the front, you see it like a purl stitch. Okay. So you can also do a triple, and that's what this is a triple. So I had figured out how to do the triple several years ago and had let people know about it. A lot of times when people say the box stitch or the double rib, then what they do is they'll knit like maybe 5 or 10 rows or whatever, and then shift it. So then they'll move to the other side and start doing the exact opposite. Okay, so say you're on this side wrapping. When the next time you come through to change it, then you go and you wrap these two where they're connected in between. See how there's like a hole here? Whoa, I'm hitting my glasses. Trying to see how I can. Okay, see how there's a gap here? There's no yarn. So the next time they go and they wrap it to create a gap, like this little piece of yarn here. See that? Let me get closer. So there's no yarn, and then there's yarn. And so you go back and you wrap it. Okay, so then it creates this wonkiness, right? Well, then you knit the next 5 or 10 stitches or however long you've determined, and then you go back to what you were doing. And so after doing that for so long, it creates this waffle pattern. It creates this cool look, right? And like little boxes, like little shadow boxes. And it's really pretty. It's a honeycomb. There's also another stitch called the honeycomb pattern, so it makes it even more confusing when people start looking up patterns. Like we talked about the figure 8 stitch, which is also called the diamond lace stitch. It's got multiple names. Well, this honeycomb pattern has the same thing. And so there's actually a honeycomb stitch pattern in a book. I'm trying to remember whose book it is. It may be Catherine Deverley's book. No, not her book. Anyway, I'm trying to remember which one it's in, but it does create some confusion. So being familiar what kind of stitch and like how it's being used, like if you're going front board to back board, or if you're just, flat knitting on the front board, then that's what it is. And by the way, if you see a pattern that's knit just on the front board of something, you can use a knitting board. And I don't mean anymore the company. I mean, you can use a long loom or a knitting board to do a flat panel. And many of them, you can do them in the round. So like if you're new, I always have to cover it, but even if you see a rectangle like this, if it's got them on the ends like this and it's evenly spaced, you can create something in the round as well. And you also don't have to connect it. So anyway, like that book I was talking about earlier that I taught myself to loom knit, the one that comes with the loom, that's the one that I did, not the other one that's by itself. Sorry, disconnection. So that particular loom book, though, I have it to where you can double knit. You can do a flat panel just using a few stitches. You can do a flat panel using a lot but not connecting, and then also connecting in the round. So that particular book actually goes through all of that. And I do cover a lot of those things in my book as well, the Loom Knitting Guide and Patterns. Okay, so I want to show you this other stitch that I did. So now that I talked you through that, this one is a triple. But let's look at something I have never shown y'all. I showed it on a broadcast. I'm going to show it today, okay? I've actually knit the sample a while back. It was just a work in progress, and I never did a blog or vlog on it. So this side looks like the triple rib, right? This is how I keep my yarn with it when I put it in storage. I just put the bolt through and do that. So sorry for people who need to read my lips. I'm putting this above. So see how it's got 3 ribs and then you've got 1 little purl and then 3 ribs and then 1 purl. Okay, so this is called a 3x1. So you're going to have 3 ribs, 1 purl, 3 ribs, 1 purl. So if your pattern calls for 3x1, you can do this. Okay, so how did you do that, Kristen? I'll show you. And first, let's look at the reverse before I show you the top part. Okay. Look at that. That's the back. So the back is 3 purls, 1 knit. It's really evident here that this is a Y kind of stitch. It's like really bumpy versus being like a V kind of stitch of a knit. So it's really evident that we're E-wrapping here. Okay. You can probably do a flat knit or U-wrap or something like that, but this is just the way I did it with all ease. Okay, so isn't that a cool look? Right? Nice, Joanne, right? She's totally going to write up a pattern on it. If you do and you make it free, let me know and put you on my blog. I'd be like, you saw it here. Let people know. I love featuring you guys on there. So if you ever want to do something, let me know. So this is it here. Okay, so what I did is I like to do a slip stitch in this kind of pattern. So don't do 3, you actually start with 4. Okay, this is my tail. Don't be alarmed. Okay, so look at the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, it looks like 3. Okay, that's what happens when you have the slip stitch. So it makes it look really nice, right? If we only did 3, then it would look like 2 on the end, and then it wouldn't match this, right? So see how that works? Looks really clean and even. Then we don't have like all these like 2 and then everything else is 3, right? So let me go back to the top. So I did 4, and then I go to the other side and I do just 1. Okay, so this is straight across. Then I jump back over and there's just a spot missing here, but no missing peg. Okay, you're just not connecting. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, and then jump back. Okay, and then go to the front. 1, 2, 3, jump back. 1, 2, 3, jump back, and see how it goes. And then when I finish it off, I'm going to finish it off with 4. Will you be having homework? You can do this for your homework, Nancy. I would love it. Do this for homework, okay? So try this. We're going to cast on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 20 stitches on the front plus the, 5 in the back. So this cast on 25 stitches, but it's going to be 20 stitches in the front. So do that, and then you can make up a small, this length, and then do my stretchy bind off, and then make your little swatch, make it like an 8 by an 8, or you could keep going and make a scarf. Make your first holiday scarf. It's nice and light, and depending upon the yarn you use and the loom you use, you could make it nice and heavy. So I would love it if someone did this. I can write up the pattern and feature it in the blog, and I'll put your pictures on there. We can feature them on Ravelry. It'd be awesome. So if y'all want to try this for your homework, I would love it. Wouldn't that be cool? Okay, so same thing. So Nancy, thanks for joining me. I know since you have to go. So bye, Nancy. Everyone say bye, Nancy. So yeah, if y'all want to make that your homework, it's going to be a 3 by 1. Okay, so 3 by 1 rib. Oh, I just dropped. Oh, I have another loom tool. I just dropped one of my loom tools. Okay. I've got some yarn running amok. Okay, hold on. Bye, Nancy. Okay. I'm going to put this loom down, and I'm going to use the other loom because this is way too big to be moving back and forth. All right. So I'm going to focus the camera down, and you'll be able to see. I'm going to show you part of my book. You're really behind in homework, Carol? Tisk, tisk, tisk. Carol, you got to work on your homework, girl. Oh, you didn't know about the Hexagon washcloths? Where do you go to do this? Okay, in the video from last week, and we can put the link up again, but I've got the video for the Hexagon blanket, but the sample that I make in the video, you can actually do. So it's only working 12 pegs. If you want to make it bigger, use more pegs. But it's using, my sample's made on the 12 peg bloom loom. That's what they used to call it, or the 12 peg flower loom. But you can use, you could even use your 24 and use 24 pegs, or you can only use 12 pegs of the 24, whatever. So the link is in last week's loom knitting video, and we'll try and get it back up on here for you. All right, so I'm going to show you this pattern. Let me get things settled. Flip my camera down. Hopefully y'all don't see my crazy mess. All right. All right, here we go. Trying to set it up right. Okay, so this is the book I'm referring. Okay, so this is the Loom Knitting Guide and Patterns, and I've already got it to the right page here. Okay, sorry, this is a school school thing for the kids. Okay, so this is the simple Scarlet neck warmer, and this is it right here. Okay, it's a short, simple pattern. You can make several of these for gifts, and you can even place the buttons like, so I have these two buttons so that it's put on asymmetrically. See if you can see that a little easier. I'm trying to get it closer to the camera here, but anyway, so I put these buttons on so it buttons on like that. So it's kind of a cool little look, and it stuffs in your shirt, or your jacket easy. And so where the placement are on the buttons is in the buttonholes. I think these are yarn overs is what I did. So it goes like this. So these big fat buttons go through these big nice holes very easily, not complicated at all. Okay, and so you could sew your button in a slightly different place or whatnot. Okay, so this is a no purl ribbed scarflet, and you can change the look by changing the buttonhole placement, but also the yarn. This is using let's see, where's my yarn? This was Red Heart Boutique Unforgettable Color Petunia, and that was used in the sample. I used the loom I used was the Knitting Board Basics loom, and it's a 7/16 gauge. And then this, you can use a 3/8 gauge or whatever, or even a 3/4. So you're going to use the spacing that it has already, or you're going to use, if it's a knitting board, you can just put it on the 1 centimeter, the smallest block. Okay. So I've got a loom set up here. Okay, if you can see this, you can actually put your loom right here and work on it. Okay, so we'll put our slip knot in. Okay. Oh, good gracious. Okay, sorry. Okay, so we're going to put this on, lay the tail inside, and start wrapping. And it doesn't matter where this is on it or not, because some of those don't even have them. So this is how we're going to start that other homework. You're going to wrap 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. And then now, if you follow along with my book, I show 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I zig back to 3. Okay. So this third one back here, and then I wrap it, okay, so that it's going to twist behind the peg like that. And then I'm going to go to the next peg, and I just use my finger to kind of keep it midway on there. And then I'm going to go straight across. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. So for your homework, you would go straight across like this. Okay, and then do what I'm going to tell you. Okay, so we're going to go back over to the 3. You love the texture on the scarf, Joanne? Yeah, I do too. It's just, and it's nice and lightweight, especially in that yarn. It's very handy. And it's small enough to like put in your bag so it doesn't feel like your scarf takes up your entire bag. Because in Texas, man, if it's cold, it's going to be hot when you get out of work or wherever you are. So I've got the 4, and then now I did the 3, and then I'm going back and doing the 3. And then now, so I'm on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm on the 7th peg, and then I'm going back 1. So I'm constantly just going back 1. So not straight across, but just back 1. And then I'd go over 1, 2, 3, and then go straight down. 1, 2, 3, and then up again. 1, 2, 3. Now, because what I want to do is I want to have, now it may seem odd to you, that's just how I did it. I'm having it to where it actually looks like it's a purl. It kind of has this extra little side thing where you have 3 pearls. You may not like that, but I do. So if you want to have the 3 ribs on the front, then that's fine too. You could go back and do 4 on the front, but the way I did it is this way, and then you'll see why if you look at the triple rib scarf. But so you're going to finish off with the 4, and then that completes that pattern. Now, but like I said, if you want the 4 ribs on the front to show, you can just, all you got to do is just come back here and only do 3 on the back, and then do 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And so, and then it'll do that. It just means that the reverse won't look exactly the same on the back. It means that it will be wider, okay, on the front than it is on the back, or that wider looking with the ribs, if that makes any sense to you guys. So this is the pattern. So this is how it lines up with my chart. See how that goes directly with it? If you were looking at it closer, you can see how that is. Oh, all right. Bye, Ellie. Have a good night. So that's how that one's set up. Okay, so we're doing a slip stitch method, meaning like when I come back now I just skip that first peg and I start wrapping. Oh, there's a little bump in my yarn. Okay, there it goes. Good, that wasn't attached. So then we're just going to go through and wrap and follow our pattern. Okay, so do you see how when I did it, I wrapped it again, it's right on top of it. And then, you know, if you're new to it, just double check and make sure that you don't have, you can see your loom between these sections of 3. Okay, and then that way you know that they're not connected, because if you connect them, you're going to have to frog it. You're going to have to undo your work and go back and fix it. And then all you do is just, you know, lift your stitches, you know, work them, and then start again. And when you get ready to start again, you're going to be sure and slip that first panel, that first stitch, and continue. Now, of course, you have to move these down. I like to use, I use my fingertip, especially on the boy looms with little hooks. Now, depending upon your level and what you got used to, if you've only ever had the boy, it doesn't bother you. If you have had other things, it might. But I'll tell you a thing that I learned when I was working with the boy looms is when I had like atypical yarn, like if I had yarn that was really normally slippy off my pegs or whatever, like the t-shirt yarn, it stayed on there really well. The hooks like keep it there. So if you got to work with peculiar yarn, I would suggest picking those up. So anyway, once I have all that pushed down, I want to start again. All you got to do is start again and skip that first. So you're only doing 3 at a time, except for the last 4 on the row. Okay. And then that's how come you're able to bypass and get that, basically, so every other row that stitch is knit, and then that's how you get that nice trimmed edge. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, that's from this book. I'm going to put the scarf on and let you guys see it. Let's see if I can get this on with my headset on here. And then, no mirror, right? All right, let's see how this looks. Hello. Hello. It's me. Okay. Yay! La la la. Or I do that. Here we go. There it goes. Okay. It's hard when you're not in the mirror. This is sort of a mirror here. All right. So that's it right there, like that. And I like my big contrasting buttons. And some people make their own buttons, which is cool. So, right, Jane. When I start, hopefully you were able to hear me, but I did talk about that. So yeah, when you start your row, the first stitch is slipped. So that means you don't work the first stitch. You just continue on to the second one. And then that last four, you do work all four. And then when you come back, that becomes your beginning again, and you're slipping that. So it's a slip stitch panel method. Oh, I lost my marker on that page. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Slip stitch flat panel method. And then the buttonholes, I'll just kind of go over this for a second. I hate to read from y'all with the book, but because I got to remind myself. You choose the pegs that you want the buttonholes placed, and you move those stitches over to the adjacent pegs. You just pick it up and move it over. And then my sample bound off pegs 3 and 9, and then as I wrap sequentially on the loom, and then e-wrap the entire row one more time and work the stitches. And so I'm doing it at the very end. So when you get about 3 rows before you want to stop on that pattern, you just decide where you want them. Like if you want to do them in the placement that I did, which is on the very edge here. And then, so if you want to do like, let's say you want 4 buttons, you want to go 4 all the way down, then you would just repeat. So I did it on pegs 3 and 9, and you can see that because I actually number my pegs on the illustration. Charity actually did the illustration for me a few years ago, and because it's also on my, I think this is on my blog. But anyway, so you just move the loop over a peg, and then you wrap the row again, and then you knit in those 2 spots. It'll be 2, you'll just knit over those 2. Does that make sense? And then you wrap the row one more time and work the stitches, and then you bind off, and you can use my stretchy bind off. And then I actually show where the placement is in the in here, and I show like I used a hard tape measure. That's all I had at the moment, and I showed where that first button was, and then I moved the next one back a little bit, so to show where those were placed. That's pretty much it. And then if you want to connect it and make a cowl instead of doing the buttons, then you could do that. Or say you want to put the buttons on the end. Okay, maybe you want to make it a little shorter. So this can be adapted. Okay, so let's say you make buttonholes all the way at the end, and you make this like short. So you could actually use a Kitchener stitch to join, or you can make the buttons on the end, and then join it on the end here to make the cowl. Okay, so it would stand up like this, and you can even make it longer. So I mean, I could write up a pattern as a cowl, but I decided to just tell you how you could make it. So that's the cool part about some of these patterns is I like simple patterns that you can expand and create new things from. You know, I don't think things have to be super complicated. I mean, I like the complicated stuff, but I also like really simple stuff that can be very flexible. So that's just my thing. It's not that I can't create something like that. It's just that I like simple stuff. So that looks pretty, you know? So anyway, that's about it for today. I think I covered everything I was going to. Let's see, we did the rib. We covered the double knit. We did the hexagon homework. We talked about the postage scale. And then, hi Joan. I didn't say hi to you earlier. I see you saying hi. And then we talked about several things. So hopefully my random broadcast again today was helpful for you. And anyway, I thank you for joining me again today, and I look forward to next week. Again, if you have any questions, please write. And thank you for the hearts and stuff. I love the love coming across. I love it. But if you have questions, please be sure and write replay, and I will try and answer your questions or give you a link. Be sure, if you want to see certain videos with stuff, you got to be able to navigate YouTube. And if you go to the channel of preference that you want to search, I keep telling y'all every week, and I want to make sure you know, But if you go to someone's YouTube channel, like you like their video and you click on their name to go to their main channel page, you can search in just their videos. So use it for me, use it for other loom knitters channels or knitting or whatever, and you can find what you need. A lot of times, to me, actually, it's easier if you go on a desktop or a laptop, but you can still do it on a tablet or something. It's just to me, it's an easier search on the desktop, and then you can make yourself like a playlist. And we talked about last week about how to make a playlist. So you can make a playlist to help yourself find some of those things easier. So if you guys make a lot of to-do lists and pinning and stuff, I would suggest you actually work on some playlists. So that would be my little tip of the day at the end of the day. So anyway, if you're still joining me. So I hope you have a great day. I'll catch you next week. And tomorrow is going to be knitting. We'll talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.